I was hoping I could get the work order that was submitted to IT by an unnamed supervisor for a malfunctioning camera, in-car camera.
Do you not have a contact number, like a sergeant's contact number, or somebody that takes care of the IT issues?
No, I've got this here. This thing malfunctioned. The camera malfunctioned. It says the equipment malfunctioned, and IT, along with a supervisor, unnamed, no name, was made aware. And I was wondering,
Let me interrupt you. So this is reference a case, a report number, correct? Do you have a report number for me?
Yes, SO16.
The SO?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the sheriff's office.
Okay, well, what about OCA 16 dash 011 749?
Is this an incident that happened at Largo?
Yes, yeah, it was. Your deputy pulled me over and started demanding paperwork and ignored my request for a reason for pulling me over. He just, I was saying, why'd you pull me over? And he kept demanding paperwork, and I said, why'd you pull me over? And then he said, last chance, if you don't give me your stuff, I'm gonna rip you out of the car. So, but he says, that he let his supervisor know. So this supervisor is supposed to write up a work order to repair the malfunctioning camera.
Okay. Something that wouldn't be revealed to you unless you're going to take them to court. Did you take them to court? Is this a civil matter now at this point? Did you sue the officer? What's going on?
No, I'm just wondering, there must be some kind of a report that was given to IT.
Can I have the report number that you have in front of you?
Oh, no, here's the paperwork right here. Look through the stuff. But I know for a fact that there must be some kind of work order to repair the camera, and I'm sure that I have the freedom to get a copy of that report. If you want to be transparent, which it was Officer J. Fernandez, ID 480. They dropped the charges. Cost me $3,000 for a lawyer. There must be some kind of a work order to repair the camera.
Well, that is internal property, and we do not have to give you that unless you are suing the officer and an attorney is requesting that information. This is our private vehicles. It's like me putting windows on my house and then you, my neighbor, requesting to see the order for my window changing. No, this is our cars. Our police cars do not.
Wait a minute. Don't those cars belong to the people?
No. The officers' cars, the ones they drive, the cruisers, okay? They are purchased through the city, correct?
Okay, so he owns that car?
So we don't own those cars.
Okay.
Those cars are owned by the city. So the way it works is anything happens to those cars, we put in a work order internally through the PD, and then they handle the work orders.
So it's secret?
So, no, it's not a secret. It's simply citizens like you don't get access to work orders from the PD. Like you just don't.
Do they?
If you need to talk to somebody else, I can have somebody else talk to you.
Do your officers generally commit violence against people and then don't mention it on their arrest affidavit? Doesn't mention anything about any knees to the chest. I had to find out from witnesses what happened to my rib cage. This man was kneeing me in the chest while I was laying on the ground. Of course, it doesn't mention anything about that. He kneed me 8 times while I was laying on the ground. I got the video from the sheriff's department. Of course, that video is manipulated. He zoomed in, tried to take me off the picture. I think that's grounds for a complaint, you know? I mean...
This happened on November 8th of 2016. What prompts you to, and not that you don't have the right.
It took a long time. It took a long time just to get the video from the sheriff's department. It was like my lawyer was like on your team or something, you know? He's like dragging his feet, trying to act like they didn't know how to get the video, you know? I mean, I think it'd be grounds for complaint to, if they're gonna send me to jail and I don't even know why my rib cage hurts so bad. You know, I think that if a man knees someone in the chest 8 times while they're prone down on the ground, it's like they're trying to kill him.
All right, this is from a year ago, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and your rib cage is still hurting from a year ago, or you fixed it?
I'm finally healed. I'm lucky he didn't kill me.
I understand that, but...
This man weighs twice as much as me.
I'm reading the report. Did you read the report? You read this report, right?
Right, you see the initial report. It doesn't say anything about any violence being committed against me, right? Correct?
You are reading the same report I'm reading right now, right? You have read this report, right? Where it says that they asked you to stop and you did not.
Stop what?
Where it says that you would travel eastbound on 10th Avenue, passing officers conducting the traffic stop.
Okay, and I said, where's your reflective vest?
You went out in the crosswalk.
Yeah, I said...
Have you read the reasons why this happened? I mean...
I know why it happened. The man was roid raging on me, that's what. You know, I asked him, where's the reflective vest? And then he asked the sheriff, what did he say? And he said, where's your reflective vest? And then he starts running his mouth and just going off and, you're just gonna run your mouth and blah, 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 blah. I've got the video. And believe me, the video contradicts this. It contradicts it. You know, it's like, it's funny how, you know, when your officers commit crimes against the community, the video malfunctions. He was trying to cover up the fact that he beat the crap out of me.
What's your last name?
Mills.
Mr. Mills, do me a favor so you don't flaunt your personal information in front of everybody. Could you have a seat? And as soon as I finish with this lady, I'll come out and talk to you, okay?
Okay, great.
And we can go ahead and come to home. Okay, have a seat. I'll be right with you.
Nothing smells greater than the great outdoors, especially when you're in accounts receivable. We packed new banquet mega bowls full of majestic piles of cheddar mac and cheese and topped it with tender chunks of buffalo-style chicken. Now that's mega.
Brian's gonna start us out good. Brian, give it a big spin. You wanna say hi?
Say hi to all the kids' families back in Michigan and all my friends back in Michigan.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? OH. 195, 85, 30. 30. And again, you're not.
Well, can we go ahead and find out a little bit about the program?
7 you're left. Let's get started.
Troy, public comment center, Troy, public comment center, please.
60 or less. Wheel today. Yeah, well, he's been pretty good. He got 75. Look at this. It's right, like, couple centimeters. Sure, go ahead, give it a spin. Gotta be a 75. Man, so, not nothing bad. What do you want us to add to?
Okay. I mean, that's clear to us.
There's 80. Your first number is gonna be 20. One more spin. How about an 80? Always looking for the dollar. These are versus 80. 20 plus 30 is only 50. Give the wheel a spin. This one,
If you're age 50 to 85, this is an important message, so please write down the number on your screen. The law I want to talk to you about is the law.
It's something that
It's
they
a
go
rate
like
law for your life insurance that guarantees your rate can never go up at any time for any reason.
Okay.
But be careful. Many policies you see do not have one, but you can get a lifetime rate lock through the Colonial Loan Program. Call this number for any more.
Yeah, so there's no intention of.
Yeah.
For people on fixed income who want affordable life insurance that's simple to get. Coverage options for just $9.95 a month, less than 35 cents a day. Act now, and your rate will be locked in for life. It will never increase. Your coverage can never be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. And your acceptance is guaranteed with no health questions. You cannot be turned down because of
Right,
your health.
sure, I mean,
Call
that's
for
how I
your
feel.
information kit
I
and
mean, I really want
both
to
are
do that.
free with no obligation,
So
no
definitely, I
wait.
will go ahead and write
Call
it
this
down.
number.
Okay, and we get
Call 1-800-440-2211 for your free information and bring in. There's no obligation. That's 1-800-440-2211 or visit colonialbank.com. Call now.
Nosy neighbor with a keen sense of smell. Glad got full of trash. What happens next? Nothing. Only Glad has Febreze to neutralize odors for 5 days, guaranteed. Even the most perceptive noses won't go to the trash. Be happy, it's Glad.
It's here. The Publishers Clearinghouse $5,000 a week forever prize is guaranteed to be awarded in just weeks. Win and you get $5,000 a week for your life. Then after that, someone you choose gets $5,000 a week for their life. And on goes, leave a legacy for your loved ones. Watch your mail or go to PCH.com and enter. $5,000 a week forever will definitely be
basically tell him, that, that I, that this is the route that, I just want him to pretty much understand this is not a game. You know? Because then, I could offer him this program and he'd be more apt to say, okay, I'll do this. You know? Yes. Twenty 45 East Bay Drive. 520.
Thank you, everybody. Mary, you want a thin line or pass it over to Melissa?
I'm gonna pass.
Passes it on. Melissa, what do you think?
727 678 6556.
All right, good luck. You ready, Mary? All right, just all set,
Luke.
George. Go ahead.
Well, Mary, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is a tremendous show.
No, it's pointing to
with
this.
a luxury treat.
KORDUCABICH. I'm going to try to do that as soon as I get home from work. Yeah, I just, coming from someone else like you guys, it made me work because you realize that it is against the law. And you can get in trouble for that, and you need to get yourself straight and figure out, there's other things to be doing. I'm going to email him today.
I'm gonna say 37.
37,000?
Right, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah.
Good luck.
All right.
Melissa, what do you think?
Okay, all right, thank you.
When you wake up with Miracle Ear, your mornings can come to life with sound. Call the number below so that your day can start just like this. Today can be the day you join millions of Americans who have already started hearing better days with Miracle Ear. If you do happen to have hearing loss, Miracle Ear can help keep you more connected to the world around you and the people who matter most. Now's the time to pick up the phone and schedule your free no-obligation hearing evaluation. Miracle Ear has 1,300 locations nationwide, so your caring, dependable Miracle Ear Center is right around the corner. Our exclusive, cutting-edge Genius 2.0 technology, which offers our absolute best sound quality ever, makes connecting to your mobile device, television, and the world around you easier than ever. At Miracle Ear, we take the time to get to know you, so we can ensure you hear what's most important in your life. Our hearing care specialists are committed to addressing any questions you may have before, during, and after we identify
When was this vehicle impounded?
When? I'm not sure exactly, but I think 3 or 4 days ago.
Okay.
You woke up today and the temperature is 60 degrees, making you thought that
Where was it impounded from?
I think from here.
Arctic
So,
chills expected to stick around.
Largo. It's not me, you know, it's in my brother Lotion.
Bitter cold
The
from this
police,
week's
you
winter
know,
blast has
yeah,
made
no,
hell
no.
in dozens of states.
So they took her vehicle, correct? Okay, but she's the registered owner?
Erie, Pennsylvania,
My sons,
more than
not her.
50
Okay.
inches of snow. Temperatures
And
in
he
Chicago
gave
were
power
low,
authority
around 0
for me
degrees,
to be
prompting an
And
effort
his
to
name
get
is
people
this?
homeless
No,
indoors.
Okay.
While some are finding ways to make the
Okay.
frigid fun, first responders are reminding people of the health
Alright.
risks that come from bitter
I'm
cold.
trying to find it. I don't find this from here. Are you sure it wasn't the sheriff's office who picked it up?
I'm not sure exactly.
Okay, because I can't find the vehicle and I don't, if he didn't impound it,
I think I have the address for the vehicle.
let me see it.
Forecasters predict the cold last 2 days and stick around into the beginning of 2018.
They just mentioned Times Square. It's only supposed to be 12 degrees at that point, and a lot of people, like I said, are still going to be out there. But it will be the coldest New Year's Eve that New York City has had in the past 20 years.
Yeah, and nobody cares, right? People that are going,
They're sticking to it.
they'll be there for us to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, crazy.
It's nice, but it could be cold by the time.
No, we're gonna get a little bit of hazel nights. Yeah, I mean, we may see temperatures in the 30s next week, so get ready to check that out. I mean, downtown, St. Pete, today, and sunshine is beautiful. Haven't been outside.
Okay, so here's what you need to do because we missed all of these steps, okay? You need to contact Joe's Towing, okay?
Yes,
The registration of this vehicle is in the glove compartment, okay?
Yes.
They need to take it out of there and you need to come with that here. Because I need to prove that you have the correct. Because I can't give you the impound form, release form, without having proof that you actually own the vehicle or you have the power of attorney to retrieve the vehicle. The only way to do that is with the registration, which is in the glove compartment, as she said.
Maybe I have the numbers and things, not the registration.
No, I need the actual paper. It's a white piece of paper, it's long, and it's in the glove compartment. So call Joe's Towing and have them remove it from there so you can pick it up and bring it here for me, okay? You're very
I will
welcome.
come with this here again, huh?
With the actual registration, you gotta have the registration. No just this paper, the registration added to this, okay?
Thank you.
All right, and they should have an impound form, a copy of that. Because when they take a car, we give them a form. And they should make a copy of that form and give it to you so you can come here and I could get those two forms, the registration and the impound, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So what would you like to do today?
I was trying to get the work order for this malfunctioning camera. Apparently, I've got to go through a lawyer to.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't get the work order from our cars because that's something that happens internally. We don't just keep them on file where we can make copies of it. If you want to, you can have you can call LPD through the non-emergency number, have a officer come out, okay, to your residence and have a sergeant come out and file a complaint and say that you want to get the work orders for the cameras.
How often do your cameras malfunction? I'd be willing to bet that car was back out on the road the next day like nothing happened because you just didn't want to give up the video. Do your officers generally start threatening to rip people out of their car 11 seconds after coming into their window?
Well, this is how it works. We conduct a traffic stop for a reason.
Right, and then when they say license, registration, and insurance, and then the driver says, "Why did you pull me over?"
No.
You're supposed to ignore that and say license, registration, insurance, and then when I say again, "Why did you pull me over?" Are you supposed to say, "Okay, one more time, if you do not give me your license, registration, and insurance, I am going to rip you out of the car. That's not de-escalation, in my opinion.
I understand where every officer is different, okay? Some officers they would have said, you know what, I pulled you over for this reason, now give
And then
me
other
your license,
officers
and other officers are gonna say no.
Just threaten to rip you out of your car if you don't give them the stuff,
And
right?
other officers are gonna say, I have asked you for your license and registration
And if you don't
3
give it to
times,
me,
and
I am
if
going
you
to
don't-"
rip you out of the car.
Yep, pretty much.
And so he threatened me to rip me out of my car twice, and then he opened my door simultaneously as he's ordering, it even says right here, ordered and opened my door at the same time. Broke into my car.
Were you given a lawful order to give a license, registration, and proof of insurance, and you didn't?
No, well, I gave him my license and the registration and insurance. He could just look up on his computer. I said, give me a ticket.
But it's not up to you to tell him what he can and cannot.
What if
do.
I didn't have it to
Then
give
just say
it
you
to
don't
him?
have it. Just say I don't have it. Here's my license.
Well,
but
you know,
from what I'm reading here,
Okay,
he gave
do they generally send you to jail without telling you violence was committed against you? I have to find out from witnesses, all the witnesses that saw me getting the crap beat out of me, what happened to my rib cage, and then I do a FOIA, and then he comes clean and says, oh yeah, I need him in the chest a bunch, grab him by the hair and rip him out of his car by his hair, and need him in the chest while he's still seatbelted in his car, you know? And then he got me on the ground. Of course, he doesn't mention that he kneed me in the chest 8 times while I was on the ground. That's deadly force. Is that not deadly force?
No. But what?
Really? So if somebody needs you in the chest 8 times,
It would have never gotten
gonna...
to the point if you would have given them what he requested and everything would have gone nice and easy. But you did not give him your license, registration, and proof of insurance.
No, I gave him my driver's license.
Right.
And I've done that before. I've given my driver's license and I've got tickets for not having registration and insurance. But he can't do that?
Okay, I cannot speak for another officer. I wasn't there. I was not the officer who stopped you. I was not the officer who kneed you in the chest. I was not the officer who conducted the stop or who sent you to jail that day. I wasn't there. Is that correct? So I'm trying to help you, but...
Why did they run me through the old jail? Is that easier to torture people when they go through the old jail?
I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? You went to the old jail?
They ran me through the old jail, you know, the one that's like a dungeon. And then they put me in a cold, dark, wet-floored cell, and they made sure they took my shoes and socks so that it could get maggots in my feet from the whatever was in that water. Is that a normal thing?
No.
That's the sheriff's department, right?
Yeah, that is the sheriff's department. And actually, that is not the sheriff's department. That will be the jail.
But it's run by the sheriff's department. The jail.
Yes, the jail is run by the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually run by government, and then annexed with the sheriff's office, so they have most of the power there. But
Okay.
I'm sorry that happened to you. And as I said, every officer is different.
These guys are...
Some officers will let you, give the reason first, then.
Okay, so I had to bring the video over here and let you look at it because it's ridiculous. This guy, I'm concerned about the man's safety. He didn't even hear me say it. He had to ask the sheriff. So he's putting down hearsay, and as a matter of fact, the sheriff isn't even mentioned on here because probably the sheriff didn't even want to be on this report. He wanted to be secret squirrel. When I asked him what his name and badge number was when I was in the back of the car, he said it's right there. I guess his name is Officer It's Right There. He didn't want his name on this traffic stop because he didn't know this guy was going to champ out on me for no reason whatsoever.
What's bringing all this up now, though? Like a year later, why are you?
It's taking me this long to
get everything together.
To get my mental capacities together. This man beat the crap out of me and kidnapped me under color of law.
Said some officers are different than others, but what would you like
Well,
me to do today?
what this guy did doesn't make officers safe. Doing stuff like this to people, it's not right. I mean, to knee me in the chest 8 times and don't even mention it in in the narrative. It's not even in the narrative. You know, he doesn't want people. He didn't want people to know that violence was committed against me. You know, it's like I go to jail and I don't even know why my rib cage hurts so freaking bad. You know, what was he trying to make me squeal like a pig? Was he trying to kill me? I think he was trying to do one or the other.
Well, I'm sorry, and again, I'm sorry that this happened to you. What can I do for you today? That way we can resolve this issue, or...
I just want the work order that was given to IT by supervisor, no-name supervisor? You don't even write the supervisor's name down?
Yeah, I don't even know what...
Why would you just write supervisor, generic name? Doesn't the supervisor even have a name? He probably didn't even want his name on the report. Because this whole stop was shady. You know, there's omissions. There's more lies in this report than I tell in my whole stinking life. Omissions. You know what it is? He malfunctioned his camera so he could paint whatever picture he wanted. And the picture was, I ultimately had to physically remove an uncooperative driver from the vehicle. That's how they, it doesn't mention that he kneed me in the chest while I was still in my car. Isn't he supposed to mention something like that?
Well,
I think that's grounds for a complaint, right?
you can call the non-emergency number and put in a complaint. Say you need to talk to a sergeant, or have a sergeant call you.
Put it in writing. I mean, I got the video from this.
I'm trying to make it easy.
I've got the video from the sheriff's department. I mean, I'm glad that man got distracted. He looked back and I'm on somebody else's camera or something. I don't know what distracted him, but he was stomping a mud hole in me while I was proned out on the ground. Proned out. He's kneeing me over and over and over and over and over. Is that the way you guys operate?
No, but you are getting very loud, and I was not the officer who was there.
I know. I'm just telling you what happened. I'm talking loud. I talk loud. I'm an ex-Marine. I'm an honorably discharged ex-Marine. And this guy probably wasn't even in the service. He probably doesn't even have a DD-214 from the Campfire Girls.
All right.
But he's going to tell me in the back of the car, you're not a Marine. A Marine wouldn't do that. And I'm like, a Marine wouldn't say, where's your reflective vest? You know? And when somebody says, where's your reflective vest? He's supposed to say, you're just going to run your mouth and keep on going, blah, 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 blah. Running his pie hole like that?
Lower your voice, please.
Is that what he's supposed to do?
No, sir, and I can't tell what he did or what he didn't do, and why he did things that he was not supposed to do. I can't go back there and fix it, okay? Yeah. I can't. I can only help you with now.
Well, I think that your cameras only malfunction when you commit crimes against the community.
Call the non-emergency number to file a complaint.
This ain't over.